r/AskWomen. When Milove says, "What made you not want to have sex anymore?" Conflict. Traditional Just 24 says, "Pregnancy and postpartum. We are working on getting back to normal, but pregnancy was so stressful and now I'm so busy postpartum with a new baby, college, and work. Finding balance is tough." Quantumus says, "Vaginismus. I think it was my body telling me not to have sex with my BF. He didn't care if it hurt me. It started and never stopped. We eventually broke up. But I'd dreaded sex for a long time. New partner with a much bigger and no problems. Clearly my body being wiser than my heart/head." Mckemedoid2 says, "When I lost my virginity, my now ex didn't want me to move or make any sounds. I pretty much had to lay there and be a sex toy for him. I didn't get to orgasm and he wanted me dressed and out of the house before he got back from throwing out the condom. He also dumped me over text and blocked me pretty quickly after I left his place, so by the time I got home from a very confusing first time, I was single with no answers as to why and no ability to ask him. Needless to say, I haven't had sex in several years and don't know when I will again." Kenzie Ken says, "Feeling like an object." Ramomane 1859 says, "I enjoy it with my wonderful BF of 2 years. But my ex, a month into dating him, he was verbally abusive and always accused me of cheating. A month and he turned me off like a light switch. Having sex with him disgusted me and felt like a chore. I hated it. I felt zero sexual chemistry with him. I was with him a year and a half, dumb on my part, and we had sex maybe 10 times out of that year and a half. I had no desire with him." Just Call Me Kitten says, "Birth control, PPD, threes, childhood trauma, resentment from doing everything for the kids, him, and home with no help, leading me to feel like he is my 4th child. Bad attitudes in the past after being rejected. Just recently went 2 years with no orgasm or any effort on his end to help me reach one. When I brought this up and tried to talk about it, he accused me of faking my orgasms for the last 2 years, and it was my fault. Being held down in the most uncomfortable position on the bed while he bangs away to get as many orgasms as he can. He has almost no refractory period and is multi-orgasmic, and once he has squeezed the very last orgasm out of himself and gets up and leaves for a smoke, leaving me on the bed feeling like a used hole, not in a good way, with sore and cramped up joints and muscles. Feeling like I went a few rounds in the ring to clean up by myself. No thought of my pleasure or how much pain I'm in while he is getting his, and the pain of the aftermath." Toaster Path says, "The old dude down the street trying to buy me, like literally purchase me. Said he wished I didn't own a house so he could take care of me. All I heard was destroy your soul and own you like a slave master. Wanted me to give him a lap dance. I said I didn't know how. He brought up a video to try and teach me. I give a damn fine lap dance, but they are not for sale. They're free if I like you and you want one and we both consent. Gross me out. Sometimes it takes me a second to process what I'm thinking and feeling while I'm waiting for the life point eggs program to load. Sometimes I'm too nice. I'm hoping that this feeling goes away, but there are other gross creepy men out there that have been adding to it. I know there are good guys, that is why I want the feeling to fade." Backadaps says, "I don't know. My body is taking longer than ever to get in the mood. I don't know if it's because we've been together for 11 years. I don't know if it's because I came off birth control. It's really weird because my mind wants it, but my body doesn't." r/AskWomen. Interesting ad 6116 says, "Women of Reddit, how did you stop beating yourself up and move on with your life?" Fast Wonder says, learning to trust the universe, and timing when things don't work out. I will be where I need to be eventually. Letting go of things I couldn't control, and doing as much as I could with things I can control. Murderbot of Rivia says, I 49 female, spent 10 years from my mid-20s to mid-30s in a cult, and in a very unhappy marriage. I find the best way to not regret the past is to be happy with the present. It would be easy for me to feel like I wasted those 10 years. However, I really like the life I have and the person I'm now. Sunset and Silence says, working with my therapist on this and other issues has helped me tremendously. Wanda Mariah says, I still do it from time to time when the situation isn't in my favor or if I'm going through the same pain as I did before. But now, after years of trying to heal myself, work on my inner child, and love it, I feel like I'm not as hard on myself as I used to be before. Yes, there'll always be parts of me that need to be better, but I've realized that beating myself up will only make it worse for my esteem and confidence to stoop lower. It takes time. Now, when I find myself hating me for being the way I am, I remember what all I went through and how I sprung back up all by myself. It helps me in my case. Celestialism says, therapy. James Gordon says, I'm trying to do it now, even though it's bloody hard. Sometimes the guilt just hits out of nowhere. If I could give myself between the ages of 16 to 19 a smack around the head, I would, because I did some very bad things and lost and hurt people I cared about because of it. Ultimately, change is the best apology. I'm back in therapy to process those actions and events now, take responsibility and heal from the past. Doral Ascadora says, accountability that whatever is happening in my life is based on either on my feelings or poor judgment. Acceptance that I couldn't control all things. Understanding that I'm not perfect and I would never fit perfectly for everything. Fugrissa Zeros Drawker says, I beat myself up for things that are appropriate, but not for a terribly long amount of time anymore. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on acceptance and release. They helped. A and Dear Succubus says, some days, I still beat myself up. I've done cringe to terrible things in my past, and the memories would haunt me. But what made it better? Realizing I've grown and learned from my past mistakes. And with no one around from my past to heckle me over something I did 5 million years ago, I've been able to accept myself. Also, I have someone dear in my life who didn't recoil from my war crimes, recognized me as a survivalist, and dared to love me. That shit changed me. They made me want to be a better woman. And I finally sought out therapy and have been going every week without fail for the past 6 months. Imilaga says, still working on it. Individual Sense 979 says, I read a book about art and economics, really specific I know, but bear with me. It made me realize that worth isn't as cut and dry as I originally thought. In the book it talks about how an art gallery could be the thing that keeps minimum wages workers going, being a free resource, and how minimum wage workers make the foundations of society. So putting public money into an art gallery isn't provided a free luxury, but potentially a necessity in society. The book made me realize I had immense value to those around me. I care about people deeply, try to help when I can, I'm smart and can give good advice, I'm trustworthy, I'm giving, I'm understanding and empathetic. I didn't realize how much I had undervalued myself. Now I know I deserve nothing but the best, from myself and others. r/AskWomen. Mujtiba5566 says, what do you enjoy about intellectually stimulating conversations? Novertrally says, the intellectuality stimulating part. It's enjoyable to discuss ideas, concepts, thoughts, experiences, perspectives, and feelings around a topic in a deep, purposeful, intentional, and meaningful way with someone who is also engaging in good faith. It helps you all learn, build, and grow in your understanding of the concept, yourself, and other people's perspectives. Galaxigazer says, it's just as common as common sense. It also helps me to understand the right kind of people with whom I can truly connect. Alternative C2036 says, the answer is in the question. I find it much more enjoyable, deep and stimulating than a regular conversation. It never fails to get my attention. Sniffoxes5460 says, they really turn me on lol. It's a problem for me. Fartap4535 says, I don't enjoy them anymore. I used to crave them, now I just don't want to think it's too hard. At least I think Izzy says, listening. Because if I have nothing to add, I have something to learn. Curtin Sonnet says, I love talking about ideas, learning new things, hearing other people's perspectives. I do not mean those debate me brothers, and those long random conversations about all sorts of stuff. Last night I had a long talk with someone about quantum mechanics. Neither of us is a physicist. We are just a couple of nerds chilling and pondering the nature of the universe. It was lovely. Lavendly says, I feel like it puts you and the other person in your own world, surrounded with fireworks of deep thought. Mystic Nxme says, the answer is in the question. They're stimulating. I also enjoy seeing what others know and getting passionate about their favorite topics. I love when others can teach me about something without shaming me or making me feel dumb. I like hearing everyone's views regardless if I agree with it or not. I enjoy seeing how people think and how their knowledge shapes them to the person they are. It's also a turn on for me. Very attractive when people can fully and in depth talk about topics with actual knowledge/facts and not just opinions. It's attractive when people are invested into a topic they love. Strange Statement 50 says, especially when chatting on the internet, getting to know you can start becoming incredibly intrusive. Did you grow up here? What's your family like? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your hobbies? Do you like to travel? That's not a conversation. That's closer to a job interview. As much as so-called experts think these questions are important, they never open up conversation in a way that makes me want to come back for seconds. Skip those questions. They'll come out naturally in time. Honestly, I'd rather have someone try to convince me of the virtues of Bitcoin. I mean, yeah, I'm going to call you a fool and pontificate for hours about the error of your ways, but at least we are talking. Personally, while I like deep conversation, depth by itself isn't what keeps me engaged. Even on mundane subjects, a clever turn of phrase or witty pun will make the difference more often than not. It doesn't have to be scintillating to be intellectually stimulating, it just has to be fun and entertaining. Sanona Rose says, it's familiar. Moongarden 6 says, the knowledge to be shared and pulled apart to get further insight. Conversations with out-of-the-box thoughts are particularly stimulating. The mind is open to countless possibilities. I'm very much drawn to people who think this way. Queen Thanos says, everything. BTW, anyone out here interested in physics? Mouta Ched Hijabi says, it satisfies my curiosity about this world and the people in it. Stilliow1122 says, new knowledge. I love learning new things. I love anything that piques my curiosity. I could go on and on for days reading, watching, or listening to something that interests me until my mind is satisfied with the information. And having someone to talk to about it is a conversation I always look forward to. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.